creativity, it comes from limits and not abundance. I had a past mentor that was very rich, but he always told me, I'm not rich enough not to be creative. Hard choices, easy life. Easy choices, hard life. The biggest pain was in an innovation company, and that there was a personal, very big incident. It's not really about having a control, but it's having the clarity of what you want and where you're going, the direction where you want your business or yourself to go, the safety that you want to provide for yourself and for others, and what risk you're willing to take. Because again, and this comes from learnings, when you take a risk and then it goes bad, you have to take responsibility and ownership. And I think once you have that direction and this understanding of safety, then you actually create trust with people you work. It's about evolution rather than achievements. I think it allows to then to have freedom of choice and to define the quality of the problems you're working on. And now I had the opportunity to apply it is work with people you want to spend time with. Think a luxury but necessary one, to be able to choose wisely the people you build with.
This is key because the people that you end up surrounded is the person that you end up being, and that is so important.
Exactly.
So please, grab a cup of coffee or tea, get comfortable, and enjoy this episode. Welcome to the Brilliantly Branded podcast.
So if you ever wonder how people who build big things in life actually think, how they take their decisions, and how they handle uncertainty and keep moving forward in all these fast-changing environment and world, is here in the Brilliantly Branded podcast, where we provide the tools for empowerment. So our conversation today is about mindset, about courage, about leadership, and about what it really takes to turn an idea into something real without losing yourself in this process. So my guest today, he is founder, director of different ventures. One of those, just to give you one name, is Salkin. He is the CEO, what is one of the platform pushing innovation in the digital finance environment in Luxembourg, here in Europe. And he is involved in building and scaling ventures across tech, AI, real estate. It's many things around. And I want this conversation to be about his journey. All those moments, all those decisions, and all those lessons that really shapes the way that he builds and leads today, that led us something to learn from him and something to feel inspired across his journey of empowerment. So Arthur, welcome to the Brilliantly Branded podcast.
Thank you, Maria.
Well, my first question is looking a little bit back. I'm very curious to know what these first things that sparked to you to drive, to create. It was more curiosity, it was some related with challenge, or something more personal?
Good question. I think it's definitely curiosity, but in the end, it's what emerges out of curiosity is more understanding friction that can be lived from either systems or people, and more and more nowadays it's people, as we focused on community, but it's finding this, let's say, systems that didn't quite work, and where I think it's innovation or creation is interesting is if you come on frictions and then you try to create rather than creating theories, then you have direct barriers, and applications to make things, or creating the will to make things to work better or fairer even, I would say more efficiently, in any ways.
I love when you said create friction. Could you give us more details about what that exactly means?
I think you identify something as a friction when it's both I like the word you use, curiosity, at the beginning, where it's you're curious about something and you identify a constraint within that curiosity, being a sector, being an application, being something, and And I think creativity, it comes from limits and not abundance. And so as soon as you have curiosity or let's say passion about something, and then
Yeah.
you have a constraint that you live yourself or that you witness, then it allows you to become creative. I had a past mentor that was very rich, but he always told me, "I'm not rich enough not to be creative." I think it's never, you can't envision abundance in order to become creative. And I think as soon as you have I like to, as a human level, to say curiosity or passion, and then identify the constraint that you can live into a system. Then bam, the friction is there, and once it's
Yeah.
identified, you can become creative in a way to remove it or to make it different.
That is interesting because in fact is kind of getting out of your comfort zone in the sense that you start to see the things in a different with a different perspective or different lens. And I just wanted to come back a little bit at the beginning. I just give a small introduction about your background, but I will love you to do that from your words because part of our listeners don't know who you are, don't know where are you coming from. So I will love you to share with us about that.
Well, I think most of you listeners, but I think I come from innovation from various sectors. I come from I think pain and mistakes to understand both on a personal level what I enjoy doing, which sectors or framings I enjoy doing, and this I think I've been in terms of innovation, both in marketing at the very beginning of digital marketing, starting in Luxembourg 20 years ago, where we were playing with ads and where big companies realized that Facebook was more than just a place to say if you had a complicated relationship, but it was actually a place for people to communicate. And from there, I had different ventures, some being great at digital marketing, some were, let's say, they were very difficult in technical and constructions and things like this. And I think in the end, it helped to shape. And now, for the past a bit more than 5 years, I've been interested in blockchain as an automation tool to allow peer-to-peer or people-to-people interactions. And now for the past 2 years, this in terms of finance. And so I've been back in Luxembourg. I traveled from Luxembourg, Belgium, the US, worked in Paris as well. And now I'm in Luxembourg, where I think we have a great ecosystem to build on this blockchain as in automation and with great foundations in terms of real estate or something specific where I see a lot of friction,
Yeah.
and hopefully that we can allow people to make it for people to make it more accessible.
Yeah, you mentioned pain and mistakes, and that is
Yeah,
something very interesting because I consider that in the world of innovation and creativity and bringing new things to the world, that really means stepping into the unknown in certain way.
yeah.
What and my question here will be, what was the hardest moment where you really have to just go with the flow and trust it in your gut? What was that
The,
moment, that following your intuition, your gut?
I think something to summarize it before I say anything. There's that quote that say, hard choices, easy life. Easy choices, hard life. I think it's something you usually learn it after, when you've gone for the easy choices. I think the biggest pain was in an innovation company that I've been built with relatives, and that there was a personal, very big incident, and then I had to realize that I wasn't fit anymore, both on a personal, let's say, passion or ambition level, and I think both me not having the will and not being able to drive a vision on this was something that took months to realize, because you and on top of this, I mean, when you work in startups, it's always difficult. I mean, it's always difficult to build up, and so you have to make clear for yourself and for the others that you're living the boat in order for the boat to stay afloat. And it was a terrible breakup, I would say. So this was a very painful bit that I still reflect on, not on a daily basis, but close.
Yeah.
And as you repeated, as I said, it's the pains and mistakes, and it's easy to do. It's something that it takes a long time to acknowledge, and to find lessons out of the mistake and the pains,
Yeah.
rather than just letting them hurt and then live on it, but to work on them, to understand what could have been done better, what was done just because of the emotion right away, and also, I mean, for everything, you have a
Yeah.
responsibility that you have to take on this. So it's a long work,
Yeah.
but it's, I think, mandatory for everyone to try to understand the learnings, and there's nothing that can be done, so there's only learnings out of this.
Yeah, it's not a failure. It's probably the lack of the lesson that you should be learning from that experience
Exactly.
that really take you to the next level. But actually, that is involved on this story that you share with us. Probably have been connected with the why, the reason why you exist, the reason why you do the things that you are doing. So all the companies that you are managing and have been created are very, very connected with data. But
Mhm.
keeping this why most probably is part of the things that people are wondering how you really keep this why next to your values and next to the reasons why you are doing what you are doing. Maybe could you share something with
Of
us
course.
about that?
I think being anchored on the purpose, or the first principles of why, of that curiosity that you mentioned, that friction that was identified, and those constraints. I think this is what we apply, and I say we because I work very closely on the ventures that you mentioned, or where I'm active, with a business partner, and this is, I think, something we force ourselves, now it becomes natural that we repeat ourselves on the source, on coming back to the main problem, on why the project exists, and not how complex it has become. Otherwise, it
Yeah,
becomes
exactly.
a nightmare. And so I think the purpose doesn't become an emotional hype, but it becomes a utility for us. It is who who does it help in the end, and how we want this to be helpful, for this, for that, let's say, target in terms of business terms. um, and and once you remove the emotion, and emotion is great, it allows you to go forward. But as soon as it's not a hype, but it becomes a utility, this why, as you mentioned, I think why is a great, is a great big term, big word for this. It allows them to stay grounded. On the purpose, but also on partners, on users, and yeah, on the reality and not the abstractions that come. And this is what allows us today to keep being grounded. It provides us a signal to simplify, let's say, back to the why, and not to disengage.
Well, that is a lovely explanation and very clear for me from the sense that we as a human beings are guiding the way, the path, and sometimes we need to adjust the purpose, let's say. And part of that is all the things that probably we can try to prepare ourselves very well, but there's the things that no business books will teach you, right?
Mhm.
So What will be one of the things that now, with all your experience and all the things that you have been living, building ventures and managing and having the contact with the real business like that, what would you advise to people now in general in order for them to feel in this empowerment of, even if I have thousands of business books, I am not going to find that specifically that is coming from
Yeah.
people that probably you have been working with?
It's a big one. I think I think I'm going to continue on the element of being grounded. I think it's not really about having a control, but it's having the clarity of what you want and where you're going, the direction where you want your business or yourself to go, the safety that you want to provide for yourself and for others, and what risk you're willing to take. Because again, and this comes from learnings, you when you take a risk and then it goes bad, you have to take responsibility and ownership for it, and it's not so this. It's not just saying that you are willing to take as many risks as possible. Is to have the ownership of those after, and I think once you have that direction and this understanding of safety, then you actually create trust with people you work with, and and those. I would say that the decisions made within that frame, it allows to have to create the culture of the venture you have, and not those big speeches of what I'm saying now, but how you apply them on things. And it allows to absorb the uncertainty because nobody knows exactly where we're going. But I think once you have these three elements or these three axes of work, and you make them clear or as clear as you can, even though there's uncertainty, I think it allows others to operate within the frame.
Yeah, it's happened to me since long time, but I have been realizing when I'm working with my clients in terms of clarity became this thing that really defined, because you have a lot of information, and based on the clarity that you have is how you can act and how you can do things and give the direction. And part of that direction is the direction as well that you give kind of a legacy, that is basically these mentorship processes that you are doing and supporting. And I knew that you was part of Women in Finance and Technology program in Luxembourg, and I am so proud about that, because I love and support when I see other people as well supporting women in different fields and finances. My question is, what for you means to give this support, and what did you realize from women especially that they bring to the world of innovation, let's say, today?
Sure, and one thing, because it's going to be I think you're fully right on clarity and to be applied to oneself first and then to others. But I think it's a key element. Again, in clarity, and what I try to apply it is it's not to teach confidence or anything like this, or not to teach anything. It's try to remove within that clarity spectrum. It's try to remove the unnecessary frictions. Try to identify what really the friction that really matters, and not all the frictions. Otherwise, it's a never-ending game. But I think this is where I try to bring something. And this in a focus that it's rarely out of competence, but it's more in terms of how do we provide access or exposure on permission to the people we mentor. This is what really matters. Is not the competences to bring to people, but how do we bring them out there and make them useful, I think. And so where I think I can bring more is to be practical, not to be inspirational. I think that those people have that in their nature or not, but it's to be practical, and try to make people aware of the structural bias of the market or the sector, what they apply, rather than try to reinforce individual weaknesses, I think. I think it's not about special treatment. It's about equal friction.
I love that. Equal friction is something that actually I haven't probably touched that upon in this podcast. And it's,
Good.
it's something interesting, very interesting from the sense that it's not about gender or about specifically bias that we can do in the society, but it's actually to be more practical and to bring things that
Exactly.
really add value to the environments that we are developing our business or our personal life as well.
100%. Yes.
Yeah, so just to start to wrap up, because that have been a very key conversation for us in general to feeling inspired, because I'm feeling inspired by someone that have been just doing all the things that you have been doing and is still grounded, because your way to speak, your way to share, your way to your humble side to show all the things that you have been doing means a lot for me, and I'm sure for our listeners as well. So, if someone listening right now, this episode wants to build something really bold, but feels probably small now that happened to us, we are in the up and downs, especially when we are starting a new year. Sometimes are like, well, where should we start? What should I be doing? Who I be probably contact or having a conversation? So, about more this mindset that they can take, what would you advise to them?
Um, I think, overall, it's and it's not in a generic way. It's an interesting question. I think it's some building something that makes sense for oneself, and that makes sense, and that can last. I think that's over if you can apply this. So
Can
it's
you repeat that? I love that.
I think it's building something that lasts and makes sense for oneself.
Yeah.
It's about evolution rather than achievements. So you can. I think it's the business way to say it's the journey, not the destination.
Yeah.
For me, it's and this allows not to have the constraint of speed, but to have the opportunity to focus on that friction or that problem or the constraint to merge really the curiosity and constraint that we mentioned from the beginning. This is where once you have this focus and this will to go through evolution rather than achievements, then I think it allows to then to have freedom of choice, and to define the quality of the problems you're working on.
To identify when a problem is a real problem and not just
Exactly.
something that
Exactly,
comes.
and not just the speed of to solve one problem, but to tackle the big problem.
Yeah.
And I think, and this is quite a recent lesson, I would say, realization for me. It's and it comes from Ray Dalio book Principles that I've read a long time ago, and now I'm finally I had the opportunity to apply it. Um, is work with people you want to spend time with, and so it's I think a luxury but necessary one to be able to choose wisely the people you build with.
Well, yeah, I think this is key. This is key because the people that you end up surrounded is the person that you end up being, and that is so important.
Exactly.
And just my last question, and this is just related with one word. If you have to choose one word to define what will be the seeds for a better world, what that word will be?
That's okay. I think it's okay. But on my point of view is I think it's to build closer to reality than theory. It's we have practical problems. I know it's not one word. One word. One
You are
word.
in data world, numbers, all the things. I say
Yeah. Okay.
one
One
word.
word. One word. Decisiveness. Decisiveness. It means
Excellent.
it allows you to have action and to build closer. I think to build closer to reality than theory, um, and decisiveness allows also to realize that Building meaningful things take time, but they
Yeah.
require decisiveness.
Yeah, I have to say thank you, Arthur, because this is so meaningful for me. You will know about this last question probably later on in the future because it's part of a project that I'm starting, and
Great.
it's going to be related with all my purpose and my why in
Okay.
life. So you are the first one that answered my question. I'm so happy about that, and you will know about that. I have to say thank you for sharing the experience of life that you have been having with this humble side and with this way that is really making connections and feeling so honest and clear for me. Thank you very much, Arthur, for being here in the podcast.
Thank you, Maria. A very great framework, so natural. I love it. I'm happy to come back whenever you want.
Thank you very much, Arthur. It's a pleasure. Your story is your brand, and your brand is a seed for a better world. Every conversation you heard today came from someone who showed up to share honestly and trusted that their experience could help someone else. That someone is probably you. Now it is your turn to pass it on. Please share this episode with one woman who needs it. Explore the playlist and find the conversation that is picked for her moment. Because the right story, shared at the right time, changes everything. And every time this community grows, it reaches farther than you can imagine. The proceeds from our brilliantly branded live events go directly to children's education through Seeds for a Better World, the association we founded so that impact never stops. So please, explore the playlist, and if you know a voice that deserves to be heard here, please send them my way. Until the next episode, ciao ciao!